Hello and welcome to Tech with Heart. I am your host, Michelle Calloway. Tech with Heart's all about empowering entrepreneurs to be successful by embracing technology so they can stay competitive and relevant for long-term success. And today's very special guest, her name is Barbara Provost, and she is a innovative financial professional who has a heart and a passion to empower entrepreneurs to be successful throughout their business journey, but specifically has a heart for helping women find their voice and their power and discovering how to have their own financial freedom. So she is a financial professional, big heart. That's why I have her on this Tech with Heart show today. I'm very excited about what we're going to talk about. It's about how to fuel entrepreneurial success. Yes, there is fuel behind everything that an entrepreneur does. So without further ado, welcome to the Tech with Heart stage, Barbara.
Wow, thank you so much, Michelle. It's great to be here today with your community.
I'm excited about what you're going to share because you are definitely somebody that comes in with a different perspective. It's not all about money, but I know you know a lot about how to handle and manage and get and acquire more money. So we are going to talk about that. But what is the first thing that you see that entrepreneurs must have in order to fuel their entrepreneurial success?
Right. Well, the first thing is passion. It's all about stepping out on that skinny limb, if you will. When you're an entrepreneur, you're on your own. And it's about really having a purpose for why you've decided to take that leap. So many people have left corporate or left their stable job because they have a passion for something that they truly believe in. They maybe have seen a gap somewhere in their lives that they thought this needs to be filled, as I did. And they have a passion to really make sure that that gap gets filled. And as anybody who's an entrepreneur knows, it's not an easy task. It's a very, very heartfelt journey. And you need to really have the passion behind it in order to keep going.
So when you say passion, are you referring to like what a person's why is? Because I hear a lot of people say you need to know your why you do what you do. Is that pretty much what you're talking about here?
I would say yes. It's why do you do what you do? Because as people would say, you know, I quit my 40-hour-a-week job so I could work, 120 hours a week for myself and not nearly get the pay or the benefits. But it's because you have a mission, you have a passion, you have something that has been a God wink, maybe, that says this is really what you're put on earth to do. And you have the tools and skills and knowledge. So have the faith and keep moving forward and make sure that this passion gets fulfilled.
Right. I think that passion and purpose perhaps go hand in hand, right? Like if you can tap in and identify why you're doing what you're doing, which is your purpose, then the passion is so much deeper and richer, would you say?
Exactly. And if the most important thing, I think, is if you don't have that burning passion, that desire, there are going to be days where you're going to just think, I think I have to throw in the towel. I mean, there are very difficult days when you're an entrepreneur, and it's not all, you're not an overnight success. There's a lots of ups and downs and in-betweens and a lot of really, really tough decisions you need to have with yourself and with other people. And unless you are really driven by your passion, I think people just give up.
So the stick-to-itiveness comes from the passion because, I love the fact that you mentioned the journey isn't smooth. In fact, they say that if you want to go far, just go in a straight line. But oftentimes, especially small business owners who are stepping out to be entrepreneurs for the first time, perhaps, they don't necessarily have a clear identity of that roadmap. And I think that maybe you're going to talk a little bit about roadmaps as far as what fuels too, because you kind of need to know where you're going and then map out how to get there, just like as if you're traveling, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah. And sometimes you don't realize that even if you're in Chicago and you're going to Florida, you might have to take a lot of detours and you might get some flat tires along the way and you might have to jump on a bus when you thought it was a plane. So you have to be very nimble and flexible and open as well.
In my world of technology, we say be adaptive. Technology is moving very, very fast. And that's one of the reasons why I started the Tech with Heart Network, to provide that safe environment for those who know they need technology, but they don't necessarily feel comfortable with it. And they don't want to enter into an arena where they feel kind of stupid for asking good questions. Just because they don't know it doesn't mean somebody else should make fun of them for not knowing that. So we've created this warm environment, but it's all about helping them to stay open in their mind to being adaptive and willing to make those pivots. As we saw so much happen through the pandemic, people really needed to be adaptive and pivot.
It's so critical. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs who are really very fierce in what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And you just find you're up against a brick wall and you need to try sometimes something different that you might not think is the right thing to do, or pivot, which I've done several times on my journey, because you know that, like you said, there's no straight line. You have to try things and test and try and test. And thank you for the work that you do with the technology, because like you said, technology is everything now today when you're an entrepreneur. But if your expertise is not in the tech world, your expertise is in something totally outside of tech world, but you need tech to be successful, you really need to learn quickly and adapt and really learn what you need to know from a technology standpoint as well.
So that brings me back to the purpose and the passion a little bit. So you know that that's what's going to fuel you as far as getting you out of bed every day. But when it comes to starting to figure out how to navigate this journey, I always recommend, getting a mentor or two or three, or just join a community in which you feel very enriched by all of the areas of expertise that they bring to the table. And like Tech with Heart could be a good source. I know that you have the purse strings. We're going to talk a little bit about that too. You provide a tremendous amount of resources. So, and there are a lot of entities out there that really want to see entrepreneurs be successful, because it is like the backbone of America, right? We want to see a lot of varieties in our capitalistic society. So can you share a little bit about this journey, the roadmap perhaps, or the strategies that you recommend?
Sure. So you're absolutely right. You need a community around you of, I would say hand-selected individuals who are not going to be just yes people, but they're really going to challenge you and really, everybody has their blind side that they can't see. And not only do we want that feedback, we need to be open to that feedback, and we need to maybe act on it, challenge it, perhaps have discussions, but you need to have those people around you who are experts and are going to give you good, honest feedback and help you adapt and pivot and try something new and then measure. So when you talk about strategy, I would say, you can't just throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. You really have to measure, what am I doing today? How often have I done this process or procedure? Have I measured it? And what is the success? Is it what I thought it should be? Are there pivots along the way? What link in the chain maybe do I need to tighten up a little bit? So for me, the strategy is two things. One, yes, have a close-knit group of people to give you insight and feedback. Second, have a really great coach, which I do. And third is measuring what you're doing on a daily basis. So depending on the work that you do, and a lot of what we're doing is sales as well, is how are you reaching out to people? How many people are you reaching out on a daily basis? And at the end of the day, have you hit your 10, 20 phone calls, whatever it might be? Why you have or why you haven't, or if you're not finding enough leads, where else would you go for them? And it's being very diligent and dedicated to those processes. And we were talking before about the follow-up. So, there's a whole process of finding a lead and then having that phone call and having that great conversation and engaging and making sure that you have the right candidate in front of you, the right person. I was just watching this little video on, sell me this pen from Wolf of Wall Street. And what is it around the pen? It's not a pen you're selling somebody, but it's a value. And what is it to that person? It might be something different to you than it might be to me, instead of just a pen. So it's really knowing your consumer and really speaking their language and seeing what they need and how to fulfill their gap. And then following up, like you said. So there's a dedicated process that from a strategy standpoint, and I can't say this enough, is that you need to have your strategy documented, measured, and processed in place. And the other book my coach recommended was The Compound Effect. So the compound effect, and even my kids just say to me, oh, he's doing this or that today, you know, the compound effect, because we know if we do a little bit and chip away every single day at the work, at the mission, at the passion, at where we want to go and how we want to get there, it's never, like we said, an overnight success. It's every day being consistent and repeatable with your processes.
Being able to do business online is crucial for survival, especially during times of social distancing. So how do you survive and thrive in the sea of digital noise? It's a lot like fishing. You need to know who your perfect customer is so that you can use the right kind of lure to attract them. We help you catch your perfect customer and retain them for future sales through highly converting websites, influencer mobile apps, getting you featured in the news and on TV. Hi, my name is Jerry Bowden, U.S. Army veteran and president of Revealio Software Solutions. Our goal is to help you rise above the competition, be seen as an expert authority in your industry, and embrace technology to stay competitive for long-term success. It's more affordable than you may think. So reach out to us at revealio.com and together we will make your business come alive.
Wow, that was really great nuggets of wisdom right there. The compound effect, just keep chiseling away. But I love the fact that you just kept pointing out how important it is to measure and also to document your strategies, because then it's not just in your head, you're able to share that with your team. I also know that when you want to start growing, it is important for you to have certain systems and processes in place so that you can easily onboard new team members and help them to quickly identify the company culture is important. You need to have that documented as well. Like, who do you want everybody to see your company as? That's part of the brand. There's a culture to the brand, and you want everybody that's going to come in and do any work for you to understand that culture, because that sets the tone in everything that you say, everything that you put out there, every bit of images, all of it. And then once you've got that all documented, it's so much easier to onboard new team members or board members, or build your organization, whether it be employees or independent workers. There's so many different ways for you to grow your business. And it really is going to be like it would be good for you to kind of reach out to a business coach specifically for your business, because we can't here on an interview talk to you directly and tell you exactly what to do. We're doing very broad overviews, but strategy is a big one. It's amazing to me how many small business owners just have an idea, they have a passion, and then they just go out there and they start doing it without having done any real research or any foundational planning, because it's just like I said earlier, traveling. You don't just decide I'm going to go to Europe without having some sort of a strategic plan on how that's going to happen. You work with the end goal in mind, and you work backwards to set stages, and measure that, make sure you're going to make your goals. Would you agree with anything? Do you have anything to add about that?
Well, a couple of things. One is, yes, I mean, as entrepreneurs, we're typically people that have great ideas, big ideas, and we want to just get started and start running down the road, right? Because this is so terrific. Everyone's going to love it. The execution of your ideas is really what's going to make or break you. You may have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't execute on it and strategize on it and implement it, then it's all for naught. It was just a good idea at the time, right? So we all have to understand where our own talents and skills are. So if you're not that person that's going to sit down and document it, you need to find someone who can document it for you while you're changing the tires. So someone's going to write down how you're doing that, right? Because you're right, you need to have it documented, you need to have a strategy, you need to have some measurements. And I often see where we want to just make it happen, and then you get frustrated because things aren't
Yeah.
happening and you don't know why, because you don't have kind of an audit trail of what you were doing and how you were doing it and what worked and what didn't work. So there is some diligence to kind of putting on the brakes and really setting a plan out. Like you said, if we're going to go from this location to this location, there's a lot of variables in between and we need to make the roadmap.
Do you have any ideas or suggestions when it comes to the technologies that we could use to help an entrepreneur build out that roadmap and be able to share it with the team? Do you have anything that you use in particular? Because I can mention a few if you would
Yeah,
like.
well, I'd love to hear what you have to say. But in our organization, scheduling is a huge technology. So we use Acuity, and also we use Active Campaign. That really is our funnel for our incoming leads. We also do an outreach through LinkedIn to really find the right targeted professionals that we're looking for. And we're all over social media, which is all of those as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm always in the market for a really great calendar system. I'm always looking for that because I haven't really hit the nail on the head for what exactly I'm looking for. But those are some of the technologies that we use every day, of course, and Zoom as well.
Yeah, Zoom's a big one when it comes to communicating with your team. I'll mention a few. When it comes to collecting information from people who have shown interest, it's always good to have a CRM of sorts, customer relationship management software. And one of the biggest ones that I love, because they give you a lot of power and it's all for free, is HubSpot. HUBSPOT. HubSpot's actually very big advocates for startups. And so they give a lot away for free. And of course, as you pay up, if you want, you can get some very robust marketing and sales force tools inside of their CRM as well. So it's all kind of encompassed there, but a lot of power right out the gate for free. That's where I house all of my leads, and I write myself notes. Like if I were on this call with you and it was a one-on-one call, Barbara, I can actually leave myself notes inside of HubSpot and even set a task to myself to remind myself to reach out to you in a couple of weeks. So I can set ticklers inside of the CRM. Another tool that I use for my teams is Asana, ASANA. Again, a very powerful team tool where you can list resources. You can also assign tasks and people can work together on projects as a team there, and you get a lot of power on that platform for free as well. I'm a big advocate for startups. Can you tell? I have a lot of resources. In fact, when it comes to calendars, I'll even mention the one that I use. It's Cloud HQ and it's owned by Google. And especially if you're using Google as a tremendous amount of your outreach, you can use Schedule HQ for free, or it's Cloud HQ, and it works and acts just like Calendly. It's just people have to have, I think, a Google account in order for them to schedule it through you, which just about almost everybody that I know of has a Gmail account at some point. So that's my recommendations for some tools for the strategy side. Let's now move into that third dimension of what fuels entrepreneurial success, which I believe is the money part, right?
Yeah, well, money is everything. So unfortunately, for women, they don't get a lot of VC funding. Less than 3% of women get VC funding. So it's been difficult, for women to get funding for their businesses. What I've done, and I know a lot of people do, Purse Strings was actually a side hustle. That's how it got started because I have a consulting company as well. But it's kind of like as I was consulting and building Purse Strings, one fed the other, and now the pendulum is swinging where Purse Strings will be the main business. So you have to be creative. You have to talk to the right people and have some context around if you need a small business loan, things like that. And at Purse Strings, we have great financial professionals that can help you with your small business or growing business and helping you scale and learn how to fund it as well. And not only just fund your business, but don't forget you need to fund yourself and you need to fund your own retirement too. So there are strategies based on your business and based on your own financials.
So can you speak to us just a little bit about like what most entrepreneurs that you're finding, what are they doing to kind of get their business going? How are they accruing the financial side to make that happen?
Yeah, so some women are leaving corporate. And the reason is because they have a passion or they're at a place where perhaps they're financially stable and they have a bucket of money that they can use to start. And I've seen a lot of people do that. Also, if they have a second income in the house, that's always the best, because somebody already has an income coming in and perhaps already has some health benefits and things like that. So that's the best way if you want to start up. And sometimes there are just smaller funded businesses you can start with not a lot of money. So it all depends. I mean, there's everything from starting with something with, a couple $100 to, $50,000 or more. And then even franchises, those are also an investment as well, where of course you'd get a loan to purchase a franchise. So there's so many different types of entrepreneurial paths to go down, and the money is all over the place for it. So you really need to step back and make sure you yourself are financially solvent before you venture into any kind of business, and then determine the best way to fund it.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And they could reach out to you for a consultation. Am I correct?
Yes, I have, at Purse Strings, we have financial professionals that can help them with that as well, what we call our Purse Strings approved professionals. Yes.
So one of the things I just want to say real quick before we move on is that because I'm in the tech industry, I'm a tech founder. And when you step into the realm of building something with technology, it can get very expensive very fast. And that's why, again, it's going to be so important for you to kind of go in knowing enough about your target audience that and what you absolutely must build versus what you really want to build. So there's different stages of building anything for your business. I would always recommend you figure out what is the minimum viable product, is what they call it, the MVP, that you can build to prove to your customers and also to investors that you've got potential to go really big. You just need a little bit more financial support to take it all the way. Everything comes in stages, right? A baby learns how to crawl before they walk. After they learn how to walk, they learn to run. So you think of that in your own business. What is your minimum viable product to just prove to others that you can bring what you say you're going to bring, and you provide a value that they really seek? So that's kind of my little idea, back to strategy a little bit, that leads into the financial side, because you could spend a ton of money and all for naught.
Yeah, that's so important. I'm glad you brought that up, because again, as entrepreneurs, you have this great idea and you're all in until you realize, wow, this is a lot more than you think it's going to be. I mean, I am amazed at how much more my company has cost me to build it before I realized, I in hindsight, I think, would I have gone down this road had I known what I've learned today? And the answer is always yes. For me, it's always yes. Because I think we have one life to live. I have a passion here and a mission. I'm building something that's not out there at all. It's unique to the industry, and it's needed for women to be financially fearless. So the answer for me is always yes. But I think we have to always test ourselves. Is this still relevant? Is it still important? Is it still going to be able to provide what the end goal is? And do our own self-evaluation and our business evaluation at the same time.
Well, I'm really glad that you have a lot of professionals available for consultations, no matter what size the business or what kind of business. So can you share with us how people can reach out to you?
Sure. They can find us at pursestrings.co. It's not .com. It's .co. The .com was like an $85,000 venture, which I didn't have as an entrepreneur, so that's okay. We're pursestrings.co, and everything is on our site. We have free resources for women and all sorts of financial professionals that know how to serve a female market.
Well, you've been a wealth of knowledge here today, Barbara. I'm really thankful that you came on and talked to us about what fuels entrepreneurial success. Can you leave us with one thought or a quote or something that you really want listeners and viewers to walk away remembering?
Gosh, there's so many, that go through my mind every day that keep me going. But I guess, the latest one is what I've shared already, is the compound effect. And just when I say that to myself, it's keep at it, keep going, keep on track and track. In fact, I get dinged from my coach, when she looks at my tracking every week, if it's not complete, I have to, we have a bet that I have to make a deposit into an account on her behalf. So, she keeps my feet to the fire, and she's an excellent coach. That's another great thing, is have the right people around you and just keep at it. And, you can't just say, well, like somebody said, I went to the gym, I want to lose 50 pounds. I went to the gym 3 times last month and nothing changed. No, it's about, when you're building a business from scratch, consistent, repeatable processes that are measured on a consistent basis and assessed and adjusted as needed.
Thank you so much, Barbara. So thank you for tuning in today to the Tech with Heart show. And if you are a forward thinker and also a heart-centered entrepreneur who would like to grow alongside other innovative professionals, then the Tech with Heart community is probably a very good place for you to hang out. We're always talking about business growth tactics, especially organic growth. That's the kind that I like the most, because you don't have to spend advertising dollars to grow your business. So join us, techwithheartnetwork.com. Join our community. You can join for free, or you can join at a gold level and get interviewed on our show and be elevated as an expert and an influencer within our community, as well as outside of our community. So if you feel that you have expertise that you would like to share with entrepreneurs who are looking to stay relevant and competitive in today's digital era, please, again, go to techwithheartnetwork.com, reach out to us, and here is to your success.